everybody. How are we doing? Good to be back for another live morning session. Right, let me see what's happening here. Just got the heater on in the background because it's freezing. Okay. Right, who's here? Who have we got? So, sorry there, I was just in the middle of making a backing track for today's, I suppose, lesson. Do say hello in the chat, because I'm going to start playing guitar in a minute. Okay. Hi, WC. How are you doing? So, yeah, first job was to just knock up a backing track. So, what did I say this morning was Dorian, wasn't it? So, Dorian lick building. Now, I thought the reason I thought I'd do this is because just last night I decided to have a bit of a play, and I just want to expand my vocabulary, as usually the dialogue people use these days, about learning more stuff on your instrument to improvise with. So I thought in order to do that, it might be a good idea just to have a look at some other players. And a player who I find very interesting is Jack Gardner. So weirdly enough, I was sitting watching his stuff like on like low speed, not 0.25, to pick out sort of little ideas, and it was just a little Dorian. I think it was his last video actually. So he's doing a little Dorian improvisation there, and there was like lots of little things that he was doing that I found quite interesting. So I think today might be quite revealing, because I'm going to try and talk about sort of the process of how I absorb another player, and how through that I kind of develop my own thing. Roughly, okay. So so I'm kind of working that out myself as we go. So I thought good idea would be just to kind of do that in front of an audience, as you do. Totally normal to do that, isn't it? So yes, WC, how are you doing? How's the guitar playing? Just warming my hand up. So I think just while we're waiting, I'll we can have a little bit of a chat, get a few more people on here, so they don't miss out. So yes, I seem to be listening to more and more because, and the reason I think I've picked the Dorian, that Jack Gardner thing track was in that, and also I just keep hearing it a lot because I keep looking at players like Tom Quayle and him, like Frank and Barley, because in order for me to develop my style a bit, I'm kind of I'm going through this phase of where I'm pulling influences from fusion guitarists and putting them into rock. I'm good. Guitar playing has been progressing. I'm hoping to stay up as long as possible for the live good. So I'll make sure it's interesting and revealing, okay? So just a couple of things I'll just put at the beginning of the video in case people see it in the future, okay? Is that do give a thumbs up. There are 6 people watching. It'd be great to have 6 thumbs up. That would be good. And anybody who is not subscribed, please do subscribe. You know, there's a great community here built around this channel, and it's great having the support. It doesn't really cost you anything. I mean, I do have super, so if you wanted to donate anything, or that would be fine. That would be great. But primarily, this is all about you, me, progressing together. Okay, sounds good. And you can use this channel as a resource. The other thing I would say is that I do coaching for musicians. So if you're stuck creatively and you're just wanting to make a load of tracks and finish them quickly, then I can more than help with that. I'm a trained coach, so I know what I'm doing there. And secondly, if you're wanting guitar lessons, there is some limited capacity for that as well. So anybody who's wanting a one-to-one, there's a couple of hours free over the next couple of weeks for that. So snap up a lesson, just send me an email. It's $75 for the hour, and the coaching is in a group. So and then if you just send me an email about that, we can talk about that to see if it's a good fit, but it's all very reasonably priced. Okay. So yes, it's great that that your playing is progressing. So that's brilliant. So what I was just doing there when people were tuning in is I was just making a little backing track. That. So synthwave Dorian thing, right? But then I suppose the question is, well, why is that backing Dorian? The answer to that is that I've got two chords, A minor, 7, and D major. Now, the D minor, the D major chord, the important one, because that's what's making this whole thing Dorian, because it gives us access to a certain note. So when you're thinking about Dorian, the way that I'll think about it is I'll think about the difference between that and the regular minor scale. So we have the natural minor, which will have a flattened third, and a flattened second, and a flattened seventh, flattened sixth as well. And the Dorian is exactly the same, except it has like a raised sixth. It has a major sixth, so it's exactly the same as a minor scale, except we've got this major sixth sound. So that's like one way that I'll think about it. Just tune this. Right, so hi Texas Jacksaw, how we doing? Still very cold in this room, by the way, everybody. Just like to say that. Right, so we have so the Dorian mode. We're in the key of A, which basically gives us the Dorian mode would be like I'd be thinking about E minor. But if we just step through an octave of the notes, we have root, we have major second, we have minor third, we have a fourth, we have a fifth, and then instead of it like the natural minor, which would have a flattened sixth, we've got a major sixth. There you go. Good for B.B. King, that major sixth. Yes. So that's the sound, okay? And that's what makes it Dorian, and that's all we need to know for now. But then we can also think about how it maps onto the pentatonic scale. So we've got the A minor pentatonic, and we know that we've got root, minor third, fourth, fifth, seventh. So we've got that minor pentatonic, super handy, because that can go with our Dorian, can't it? So that would be like a really cliched kind of thing, wouldn't it? Okay. Just trying to build a picture up here. Oh, hi Tanmay, how you doing? Happy New Year. Good you're here, because we're doing a Dorian lesson ish. So I'm just, giving everybody a little bit of a context first, yeah? That's the idea. So that is the sort of sound, but just to make things a bit modern, I've put basically a synthwave backing track on, which should be in A Dorian. So let's have a listen. So that's your Dorian note, right? Oops. Sneakily went into the natural minor there. Okay, so we now know what the sound is. Right now, before I start, has anybody got any particular sort of questions? And I'll just come back to the chat. So, hi to Texas. Jacksaw. Oh, the chat moved. Your desk is free from clutter. No, me must do better. Yeah. Well, it's got to be kind of free, hasn't it, from stuff. In fact, there's like a little bit of. I wonder what that is. Look, there's a little sneaky lead in the way. All right then. Didn't notice that. Right. Oh, thank you. So the tones are polychrome nunchuck. Everything's coming from that. Miles Dooding, sounding good, thank you. A Dorian. Interesting that you're getting C sharp to work over it. Minor. Got to emphasize the blues note. Yes. Okay. Excellent. So that's the first thing, or major 6. But building Dorian type licks. So I was analysing Jack Gardner, and right, just let me recall what I was doing, right? So the cool thing about the Dorian thing is like you don't really have an avoid note. I think it's pretty much all works. So if we have a listen to it. So we're playing E minor, which is our Dorian scale. Like pretty much like all of the notes work very nicely there, which is good news. So let's start by doing a little arpeggio thing, which I like. So there's a couple of things playing in this mode that allows me to do, which I don't normally do, and it's this little like arpeggio thing here. I'll just show you the bare essentials first, right? And then we'll develop around it, okay? So that's the pattern there. We could even extend it down to there. Yes. So glad I got early to enjoy the music and production lessons. Brilliant. Great to have you on here. So let's have a listen to that little arpeggio over the back again. There we go. Sounding good, isn't it? Now, we can develop this a little bit. So, the first bit is going to be this, and we'll just go descending. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have an E minor 7 arpeggio. So, sorry, A minor 7. I'm just going to start it from the note G. So, we're going to go G with a 4, pull off to 1, second finger on the 13th fret, and then we've got our third finger on the 14th, so we've got this, and then we'll pull off to the 7th. Now that in itself is a really handy, we could call it a cell. I know Tim Miller calls them cells, and I think that's quite a handy term, right? And there's lots of things we can do with these cells, because we can add notes to them. So this is how I'll think. So the handy thing about this arpeggio is I know that if I play around with it, it's going to be super melodic, right? So but the problem that we have as guitarists is just playing up and down things, and I know it's a very rock thing to do, like big arpeggios, and I used to do that, but I just like can't do it anymore because it just doesn't. I don't find it very interesting. So I like these kind of little more smaller but shreddy melodic motifs. So what we can do is we can go through a process of expanding this little A minor 7 cell. So just again, we'll ascend it this time. So we're starting from the 7th, which is G. We've got 7, root, minor 3rd, 5th, 7. So the first thing I like to do is maybe extend it. So that's now really handy because you can almost think of this as like a pentatonic thing. And make little sequences just with those 3 notes. And we've got phrases. And I think this might be a Larry Carlton approach where he's using like arpeggios and thinking of like arpeggios as the scale, I suppose. And you're improvising around that, and those are your sort of key notes. So that's really an arpeggio, but it's got a very sort of blues feel. Yep, for perfect for right. Yeah, so as Gene's pointed out there, perfect for trills too. We can do that. So that's the. We can shred along it. We can phrase around it. And go into an arpeggio. Let's see how that sounds. All right, the hybrid's coming in there. So, and a really good thing is, I think, in all in all creativity, it's all about limitations, isn't it? Like, limitations is where the artist lives. And it's kind of pushing against that. By giving a limitation, it's going to make you think of different ways of playing something and then being able to expand on it. So I'll just take you through some of the little cell type sequences I'm doing. One of them is this. So I'll think of that. I'll think of this descending sequence. So what I'm doing there is just going down the arpeggio, the minor 7 arpeggio from this G note. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you do 4 and 3, which sounds really good. And then I did like a little hybrid thing where I kind of missed the 3rd out. And like what I'm doing there is I'm going from the 7th and then hybrid, skipping a string, back to the A note root, hybrid on the G. So we can get nice little sequences like that. All right. But the thing, what we haven't done is we haven't added any Dorian note to this yet, which I'm well aware of. Let's just have a look at the chat. I'll just whiz back. Where's my mouse pointer gone? There it is. How do you adjust your technique when standing? I find that I have to adjust it when performing live. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I just kind of very quickly get used to it. Guitar's about the same height as when I'm kind of sitting down, so it's quite high up, bit 80s-ish. Which is a bit weird because like whenever I used to perform, it was always in like a grunge band. But anyway, and then the other thing is actually sitting in this position emulates standing up more. So if you sit in this position, it kind of emulates standing up more. But to be fair, I'm never really standing up. Can't hang in the chat for much longer, but definitely check back the replay. Good. To clarify, when recording or streaming, my guitar sits much higher when playing live. Is right, okay. Oh yeah, great. Hi Max, how you doing? And that reminds me, just anybody who's here who's new, do like, thumbs up, and oh my god, can't lost my words, and subscribe. So some handy little things there. Now the next bit of this, we're going to add in a note, and guess what that's going to be? It's going to be the Dorian note. If I flip back here, our Dorian note, we're going for the F sharp. We've got an F sharp here. We're just dealing about this like little arpeggio thing, right? Sounds good, doesn't it? Now, even without the backing track there, we're starting to make a Dorian type sound, aren't we? Because we're emphasising the root and the major sixth sound, because that is the sound of the Dorian. Joe Sotrin said, make sure that you can play your creation standing up. There's one song, can't remember which one. He seriously struggles playing it while standing, yeah. The only thing is I'm never standing. But when I am standing, although there'll be some things that are a bit more uncomfortable, I can get into the groove more. Because you know you can be more animated. Exactly my question. I've noticed that the strain on my wrist is different when playing live. Yeah. That guitar is gorgeous. Yes, this is like a Kiesel. Kiesel Osiris. It's my favourite guitar. It's one I play all the time. I should play the others more, but I just can't help but pick this one up. It's beautiful. Okay. Everybody kind of following along. Okay, this is with the Dorian note. Okay, we're starting to expand out, so I'm going to move through, a little bit quicker maybe with some of these licks, because there's lots of good stuff here and I want to make sure you get most of it. So, we've got our flat 6, and the other note I added was this D, which gives us an 11 sound. So giving us more of a spacey fusion sound there as well. So I was adding that in. Yeah. So I've got all these key notes to be thinking about, all of which have a different character, a different sound over the music that we're playing. But our main one is that Dorian note. So to continue this arpeggio little framework, we've got our A minor 7 cell, and then what we've got is a G major 7. And then we can add in the major 6 there as well. And then we finish it off nicely, however we feel. So now we've got an easy way to sort of move about the frets. We can start building into this, okay? I'll just play that slowly. Okay. I'll play it really slowly. And however you want to play it, that's great. I mean, for me, today I'm kind of sweep picking up and down. Sometimes I'll do, when I'm descending, like legato only. And pick ascending. Or sometimes I might do the whole thing just left hand only. Now, left hand only is just a great thing everybody should practice anyway, because it's great for accuracy. And it just means make sure that your fingers are hitting the frets, accurately as well. So that whole left hand thing's functioning really well. Right. Okay. So now we've got a bigger arpeggio. Let's have a listen now what it sounds like. Right, we've got a very good question because I was just holding back before I go in for the kill. I feel like that scale needs more spice. How would it work with some diminished phrasing added? That's interesting. Now, I wouldn't think of diminished phrasing, but I would have a look for where the kind of relative diminished arpeggio sound is. And it's an interesting question because if I was to do something diminished, so we're in E minor, we'll have this C diminished, and what that is, that diminished, that C diminished that we can use, is actually giving us the major sixth. It's just a different constellation of notes. At least it is here. Now there, you actually end up with, when I add that diminished note in, you actually end up with the flattened seventh as well. So it's a good little frame to think of things, isn't it? Okay. That diminished sounds like Alex. Yeah. I'm not really familiar with him. He was from Testament, wasn't he? Love the phrasing. Yeah. Thank you. So actually the second chord of this is D major. So, but we can imply a D dominant 7th, because, you know, the diminished arpeggio is contained in that, because we've got like C diminished there. Okay. So just some thought, like, I don't like the sound of dominant 7th stuff. It's really weird. I used to love it, like when I was like doing like country type rock things when I was a kid. So yeah, he's Testament, isn't he? And then he went all fusion. That sounds awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so that's what we're getting on to, the passing phrases. So we've got a major 6. We've added like this D note, which gives us an 11. So then I suppose the thing is to then figure out like where we can start adding chromatic stuff in. And then we'll do wide interval stuff. So, because the thing I noticed with what Jack was doing was he was adding a lot of enclosures. So, for example, how about that? So, just thinking of chromatic notes before we get on to the enclosures, there's like lots of different enclosures we can use, and what you've got to do is you've got to learn them and then utilize them in the relevant places on the scale, right? And this will become clear as I go along. But just to get you started with chromatic notes, just fill in gaps, right? So we've got this in the Dorian scale, yeah? But I've got one note in between, and that is what we call an approach note. Because what I can do is I can slide that into the major 6, so, and I can slide it, or I can play it. Okay. Other things I can do is I can chromatically go up, down. And remember, you can play any note you want as long as it's got a groove and it'll sound good. So a good thing to do with chromatic stuff is I always practice it when I'm working these things out really, really slow and try to get it work with the music. So you're trying to get all the wrong notes to work rhythmically so it sounds acceptable. But in short, we've got up and down, and we've got sliding or playing. Okay, we just need to know which is the wrong note, which is the right note. But generally, you're sliding from a note that's out of tune into one that is in tune. See, there's a little chromatic thing. So we're going from the flat 5 there into the root, which technically is probably the most out of tune note. And then we're going from that F, which is the minor 6, which just isn't part of this either. So we can see if we can get something like that to work. And then generally, hold on. And is to use the chromatic lines to connect the next chord triad. Yes. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not playing the wrong notes. It's just jazz, but you can make it rock. Just joking. I love atonal stuff, though. Of course. It's expanding the mind, isn't it? I learned chromatic slide from a sax player who I worked with back in the day at university. That's what I like about Larry Carlton. He adds the notes that you think shouldn't be in there, but makes them work. Yeah. I mean, one thing that's, you know, you can take the Marty Friedman approach, can't you? And just bend a note that's out to in. You know, you can do that kind of stuff. So yeah, so we've got like you know, approach notes, and then we've got these chromatic rolls, which are super handy. So the way that I think of those little chromatic rolls is whatever note I've got in my head that I think I'm going to land on, I'll just chromatically roll to it. Yeah, so or okay. So, that's the first part of it. And another really good sort of... so another way that I'll kind of see these chromatic notes is there's this great 3-1-3 arpeggio, which is like a G major 9 with an 11. I think there's a 13 in there somewhere. Now if we start filling in the gaps of this, we get that pattern. Like a blues thing, isn't it? We can fill in these notes chromatically, so wherever the 3 notes is, we can put a chromatic note in. So if you think of the arpeggio, G major 7, then we'll think of a 3-1-3, and then we'll put the chromatic notes in. So I have 3 layers there, which will sound great over this. Okay, and that's just moving about chromatically. So I suppose when you get used to those chromatic passages, you can just go totally crazy with them, put them all over the place. So you can do loads there. So I was hearing a lot of that in Jack's thing, sort of like lots of these. Right. Okay. Need to head to bed. So thanks for tuning in. And, well, we'll be on tomorrow, so I'll see you then, Texas. How do you do Dorian to Phrygian minor? Right, well, I would just go from Dorian to Phrygian minor. Well, Phrygian is a minor sound, isn't it? Okay, so what you can do, that's a different lesson, but basically all of the modes are contained in, like, either you can either think of it like the relative major or the relative minor. Is usually the common way. And what you can do is you can just modulate from one mode to the other. So at the minute we're in A Dorian, okay? So if we wanted to go to the Phrygian that would be, that we could modulate within the key would be B minor. So we could just go to that B minor sound and just divert the music to that, which would be quite easy to do. Allow me to do this. I just have a look at that. I'll just quickly hack a bit of back in here. The major, 7, right, okay, and then if I just change, so in other words, if I just change my bass line to a groove that's in B, minute we're in A, go B. So now we've got there you go. And then back to the Dorian. Back to Phrygian. So that's how I would kind of do that. So I hope that answers the question. Well, it's one way to do it. All right. I think it's a coffee break now. Coffee and then tune. Right, everybody been following so far? That's the main thing. And are we enjoying the lesson? That's good. We've got a few people on. So I think the way that I'm kind of structuring these lessons, I'm trying to do it way as possible, rather than kind of just giving you a lick, like this is a Dorian lick and this is what you play. You know, I'm giving you the sort of DNA of like how, as best as I can, how you can pull all these components together. So in other words, I'm giving you the smallest components, the smallest cells of ideas, and then the idea is you clip them together, and that's just better for your improvisation. So you're thinking, rather than big licks, we're thinking like as really small chunks, which I think is much more helpful. So tiny little 3-note, 4-note sequences. that you sort of chain together, or tiny little, like, you know, 1 octave arpeggios that are extended, and then thinking of those as like little scales, and then being able to see them across the fretboard is, I think, more of a helpful way, really, to see things. That's what I've found anyway. Instead of just seeing massive chunks of notes that are huge lakes, and then they either work or they don't work. You know, it's like you've got to be as adaptable as you possibly can, I think. So anyway, do we have any questions so far? Do chat to me, please. Sometimes it gets lonely. But we don't have to talk about, like, necessarily, you know, the Dorian and Chromatic and things like that. You can just ask whatever you want. Ask about the guitar, the amp I'm using, music production, whatever you fancy, really. Silent. All right. All right. Thanks for the information lesson. I'm off now. Take care. Okay. Do watch back, because I'm probably going to do a little bit more chromatic stuff. We're probably going to do the enclosures. We'll touch on that. What do I use for an amp? I use Nunchuck. Let's have a look. Here it is. Check that bad boy out. One more like fusion sound here, but there you go. Oh, look, there's Harlan. Hi, Harlan. How you doing? So, I must have spiked Harlan's interest with the word Dorian in the title. I never ever thought I'd be doing, in my career, starting with McRocklin and Hutch, getting back into all the shredding and stuff. I never really thought I'd be doing tutorials like this, but I slowly seem to be getting sucked into the darkness of guitar every day. So it's like I'm just doing all the typical things that you'd expect a guitarist to do now. I'm now talking about modes. What do you reckon, Harlan? Here I am. Who would have thought? Modes. But I'm having a great fun. Really enjoying talking about the Dorian mode. Because well, you wouldn't have caught it before, but I was just trying to expand, because I say all the cliche guitar stuff now, trying to expand one's vocabulary. So, because like music's a language, of course it is. But in order to do that, it required me to look at other players. So yesterday I was just watching Jack Gardner on slow speed, as you do on YouTube, like his last sort of improvisation thing, and I was just trying to pull some ideas out of it. But I think I was just absorbing it. I didn't really actually pull many new things out, to be fair. But it was a good refresh. And what I did see there is just how he was phrasing around the major 6, which we know is the Dorian note. That was good. And then, so I've been doing bits of that. I've been discussing little arpeggio cells you can use. And then we just got on to approach notes. And then a little bit of chromaticism. But now, what we're going to do is, I thought we'd do a little bit of an enclosure thing. Because enclosures are the thing that I find very rewarding and very challenging at the same time. So, technically that would be enclosure. So we've got like the approach note, we've got a neighbouring note, and then the chromatic stuff happening. So that would be like one version. And we'll have like lots of different ones, see if I can remember any of them. So that's a really common one. But the one I like is this. So that's going to go great with our Dorian. So remember an A Dorian here. And we're starting from the 9th. So that's our chromatic thing. And then we're landing on the 5th. So we can get a lot of chromatic stuff happening in a short space, but hitting all the notes are going to sound great. And you can start really going crazy with the whole thing. Give it a go. So we're starting to build things up a little bit here. So definitely that's because I'm just touching on the enclosures. But as I say, there's like lots of different enclosures to collect. I collect them. You know, like some people collect Pokemon or something like that. I collect enclosures and try and use them. But there's some great ones where one I really like is... So I really like that sound. So if we think we're in E minor, right, and I'll just show everybody this one. And what I'm wanting to do, ultimately, is get into this G major 7 arpeggio. And the way I'm going to do that is, because part of one of the interesting things about music that I think is what you're trying to, the reason we're doing this, the purpose of doing this is we're trying to deliver the listener's expectations unexpectedly. That's important, isn't it? I'll say that with this camera. We're delivering the listener's expectations unexpectedly. So this could be kind of the start of that idea, right? So in other words, we're starting from that Dorian note, that major 6. So we've got the major 6, and we're going to the A note, which is in. and then that's completely out of tune. But then what we're going to do is we're going to slide to the root of the arpeggio with the first finger. So we get this. It sounds good when you put it all together. It's just like a big blur, isn't it? And we can put some chromatic notes in there if we want as well. As soon as we go to that A minor 7 arpeggio, that major 6, we've got like a very strong Dorian sound, haven't we? Okay. Any questions? So, other fun things, sort of breaking it down, is doing more sort of wide interval pentatonic stuff that goes into a Dorian note. So we've got this sequence, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play these notes. It's almost like quartal harmony. And we can kind of mess about with those ideas, so I'll show you what this is. So this will be the pattern. So we've got G, A, D, E, and we're up to that A note. And we can snap into these other patterns that we feel. So the cool thing about this is ultimately you're thinking about the tension and release. So I think like there's a lot of sort of airiness and release. And we can build tension by adding the chromatic notes in as the intervals go smaller. So actually, if you wanted to extend this, we could slide down to the E now. And then put our major 6th in there. Thanks, Harlan. Glad you're enjoying the lesson. But it's a kind of like, yeah, it's sort of a good way, because I've been quite interested in the quartal, like quartal harmony sort of thing, but it's kind of trying to do it in a less sort of jazzy way. That's because it's really hard to kind of get those type of arpeggios clean. Because it involves like a lot of rolling and like 3 notes, you know, across where you're borrowing them. So I find it like texturally, it sounds a little bit away from how I normally sound. You're trying it while you're watching me play. That's good. You can do those 2 things at once. You can watch me and do that. So your brain will be like a computer hall, and you'll just be absorbing all of this. So the kind of extent that I do, sort of the quartal harmony thing, is I kind of do it diatonically with the arpeggios. Sorry, the pentatonic scale. So you get some quite difficult patterns to play when you're doing that, but I think that's a different thing that we'll go through. Is it? Intonation's horrible. Yeah, get those new strings on there. Talking about new strings, there's a scam going about. So I did some Instagram posts, right? And then I got an email from supposedly Dorian said, "I will give you $3,000, 10, like all this stuff." And then it's like a Gmail account. It's crazy, but you just got to watch out for these things. Initially, I was like, "All right, that's nice." We saw that you tagged us in your Instagram posts, and we want you to represent us, you know, all this kind of stuff. I was like, "Yeah, right." So you got to watch the scams, haven't you? Okay. Right. So, do we have any questions so far? I'm gonna try some of these little wider interval things on a more of a shreddy sound. Oh, hi Remus, how you doing? Yeah, so it's actually been more of a lesson today. I'm addicted to just teaching loads of lessons on YouTube, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's just one thing I noticed is like when people ask you to do something, can you show us that lick? In the middle of a live session, and it's not a planned lesson. Suddenly, like I find that, and I think this is quite a common thing. I suddenly fall to bits and I can't play what I'm meant to be playing. It's like I'm a beginner. So I think the best thing is just to do like loads of lessons to get over that. So a lot of what I do on this live is to do with my own practice, if that makes sense, you know. And it's also great because one cool thing about teaching is it's a great way to kind of break down your process and give yourself even more deeper understanding by teaching people. And then also you've got the extra added reflection coming from that by the answering the questions that people then ask you. So it's a really good thing. I find it massively improves my playing. So Remus, anybody on here who hasn't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe and give a thumbs up. That would be brilliant. Clyrock, hi, how you doing? Yeah, so yeah, it's nice to see you there, B minus. All right, so we've got 10 minutes left. Any questions from anybody? All right. Yeah, man, I understand. I was just sitting here with a guitar listening and trying to learn, honestly, from what little I have watched. I'm liking it. Brilliant. Well, you can always watch back. Now, I'm going to do a little bit more on this probably tomorrow anyway, so I'll continue what I've been doing. I think tomorrow can just be like a Q&A, and we can just ask lots of different guitar stuff. But I think what I'll do tomorrow is I'm going to talk about kind of adding the more like wide interval pentatonic stuff. I'm using my own preset. I think it is in the pack. Let's have a look. So this is there's two presets I'm using. One is breakup. Let's have a look. So, which I'm sure is in the pack. And then I'm using my lead sound, which is Hutch wide. Slightly updated though, because I've got all the pitch stuff now. Got to switch my other MIDI pedal over. But yes, so that's kind of what I'm using. Interesting, isn't it? Okay. Fuck. Here. How to pick and legato so smooth. You should your hand only touch for palm mute. No, my hand's sort of resting, and I think like what I tend to do is I give all the notes a little bit of some sort of, maybe it's not so much the high ones, a little bit of palm, because what I'm trying to do is control one, noise on notes I'm not playing, but B, it kind of, I can modify the attack of the pick by palm muting. So that's like palm mute, but it's very slight. Like, I don't fully like the full kind of open. Yeah, so you can hear that I get like a little bit more of a thumpier attack. There you go. And then, but then it's also like a pick, like my hand, like when I hold my pick, it's like quite a light sort of grip, and I angle it so I get even more of a kind of thumpier tone. And actually you can see there on the camera that the picking action's more of a push than a pick. Like if I'm picking all the notes, you know? And then the other thing to bear in mind is I use both a combination of alternate and economy picking as well. So like long runs like that, I'll do just economy. So it's great for like kind of... Well, that's quite a good Dorian like that. Yeah. Got a few minutes left. Oh, there's Ice King. I was going to send you an email, actually. I'll send one later today. Do you see the keys on the 6th and 5th strings, or can you see them? I see them everywhere. Pretty much. Unless I'm on a 7th string, and then I just like completely, my brain falls to pieces. Ice King, ahoy, Hutch, and chat. That clean legato gets a lot easier when you can relax. Taking me months to get the softer grip, but it's starting to make a big difference. Yeah, so the whole thing is about relaxing. The weird thing about relaxing is sometimes you don't realise when you're tensing up, you just become really tense and you get used to that tense thing. So it's something that I've often got to like pull myself up on. Rick Graham's got like a good little YouTube thing on that where he just simply goes, you know, like if you're doing legato, how hard you'd actually need to hit the note. And then what you're doing is you're just remembering that tension in your hand. So like by doing that, it means I can reduce the action, how high my fingers are going up. So yeah, you know, I tried to do my best to sort of economy of emotion. All right. Shred, brother. Yay. Wild legato. Beautiful movement. Thank you. Hi, Glyn Rock. This is my friend from Indonesia. I'm using 1mm Dunlop flow. Very good. It's got the nice beveled edges, so it slips off the strings. But it has a little bit of flex. I don't like use super tough plectrums. It's hard to realise then you actually play and then relax in style. You got to put the time in, but it's life changing. Absolutely. Hi from Indonesia. And my stamina is way better. Absolutely. So you get so many benefits from that. It's a win all round, just being able to relax. What band are you from? I just found you last night. McRocklin and Hutch. Check me out. Check it out. Check me and Thomas. McRocklin and Hutch on Spotify. So there's plenty of songs there. Have a listen. We did a track with Michelangelo Batio, Jordan Rudess, and Angel Vivaldi. And Mark Hudson out of Dragon Force have all contributed. Yeah, just got your jam tracks from Polychrome. I was starting to practice and improv to them. Thank you for doing these streams. Yes, no, it's good. So just before I finish, just remember everybody that commercial break, music coach here. I do have a couple of music coaching groups. One of them is on a Sunday evening, UK time, and I would like to fill that group up if I can. I'm super excited, believe it or not. So what I would like to do is anybody who is interested in making tons of music, and me helping them take the pain away of procrastination and the pain away of being an artist, you know, because it doesn't have to be all painful. And anybody who's really interested in getting a deeper understanding on, you know, the creative flow, this is the thing for you. And of course, you'll make absolutely tons of music, and you'll be able to release music, and it'll be brilliant. So if you're interested in that and having me coaching you, there's group options, but you just send me an email, and then what we can do is we can have a very quick half an hour Zoom chat about it to see if it's a good fit for you. But there's basically a group is no more than 4. And you get like, it's when we meet every week on a Sunday for 2 hours. And that's how we roll, really. So you get 2 hours of my time in a group of 4 making music. And you sit there with your computer in your studio. We don't hear each other's music. And I take you through various games that will give you creative insights into what you're doing. It's absolutely brilliant. And there's nothing really like it. But I've never had to refund anybody. Everybody's been really, really happy, and they all make tons of music. Right, cheap views, no. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Ice King has done. Yeah, he's been on the coaching group as well. So that's great. So thank you for that. And I think that's it, everybody. So the email, if you want to get in touch with me, is in the description. There's also the Discord as well, which is on the About. So if you want to join the Discord channel and talk some more on there, we can do that. But other than that, it's been great, and I'll be on tomorrow morning, and I think we'll just continue on with this lesson. But I think what I'm going to do, and Harlan, you might, I think I might have spiked your interest here, so it'd be great to have you on tomorrow morning. But at 6 o'clock UK time, what we can do is we can do a deep dive, because I say all the kind of stuff now, cliched YouTuber things. We're going to do a deep dive into these weird quartal pentatonic arpeggio things that I do, and it's diatonic to the pentatonic scale. So there's going to be 5 shapes for you to learn, and a very, very important technique which I've stumbled upon later on in my guitar playing career, which I do want to share with everybody, because it's like one of those things that I wish I'd done earlier and then I've had to do later on. But also I got a really good insight from it as well. It's important to say to people as well. But I'm not telling you any more than that. So do subscribe to the YouTube channel and do give this a like. And it's been absolutely a brilliant pleasure as always. And I'll see you tomorrow for some more pentatonic quartal harmony madness. All right. See you then. Bye.